Alright, today we're going to go through and look at how easy it is to solder the Squareplug 400 series. Well, I've also got the SP550S that I'll show you. This is the stereo version, or I should say TRS version, doesn't matter what you use the TRS for. And then they also have a straight plug, which is very, very easy, even easier than these. And I don't think I need to go through that, but if you need a straight plug for some reason, this is super low profile. Cable comes out of it and can bend down immediately. It's just really easy. These are the best plugs that I've found for building pedal boards with. A little pricey, but it's worth it. If you're putting a lot of money into a rig, you can save the space, maybe squeeze a couple pedals on extra just by using small connectors like this. So for the SP400, this is the first one we'll do. I've got Mogami 2314 cable here. Really malleable cable. Super easy. Great for pedal boards because it's so small. And I'm just using a kind of doing the caveman method. It's a little brutal, but it works for me. If you get good with a pair of these pliers, you can strip any wire with them. There it goes flying. So you get the cable here, and you'll have the ground going around the outside, the shielding. Cool, so I've taken the shielding off from around it and just kind of twisted it here to the side. And then we've got the actual core here. So this will be fed to the tip of the SP400. That is what the signal's coming through. This is the sleeve, that piece that we pulled off to the side. This is the ground of the connection. So to strip this, I have a 0.8 gauge wire stripper that works pretty well for it. I actually stripped too much off there. I would recommend not quite doing that much, and you'll see why in a second. So basically, just take that and I kink it at a 90-degree angle so it fits through the hole and holds, and then I'll take this and kind of bend it like this so it looks like half of a pitchfork. Cool. This is a really useful thing to have. We call it a helping hand or a third hand, whatever you want to call it. These connectors do get hot as you solder it unless you're really fast. So it's also great for that so you don't burn your hands holding onto the thing. So I'll clamp one in here. We have a shielding here, paper, something that I just fold back. Cool. And then I'll take one end and I'll feed it into the hole here. So on the right, we've got two plugs basically on the SP400 connector, if you can see it. Get the screwdriver here. On the right, this will go to the tip, so that's where that center wire is going to go. And then over here, which actually makes direct contact with the body. If you don't know this or not, I just learned it recently, that on all connectors, the chassis is also connected to the ground. So on this one, the sleeve. And this is where this connector will go. So if you drip some solder there, and this touches the ground, that's fine. However, you do not want this little piece to go through the hole and touch this, because then it'll short the hot signal to the ground. I've done that once or twice already, so you just kind of got to pay attention and squint your eyes, get in there, look and see if it came out cleanly or not. Cool, so hopefully by now your solder iron's hot. You'll just touch the tip of it there to both pieces. That'll be eventually connected together and feed the solder in. It's pretty simple. That one came out well. However, like I said before, I cut it a little bit long because I was watching the camera. It actually went through and is touching the ground plate. So I pulled it out a little bit and I fixed that. That one should be good. And then to feed this bottom in, I don't actually feed it through the thread there. I just kind of set it underneath, under that little tab. And this one will take a little bit more solder. And then what I'll do to just make sure they're both solid is I'll give it a little twist, put it under some stress. Yeah, that seems good. Cool, yeah, so that's done. And once you get the other end done, you're gonna wanna use a cable tester or something to test the connection. I've got this convenient little thing by Behringer. You can also use something like a multimeter. I've got a fluke here. That'll work too. But then you've got these little tabs that you've got to make sure are touching the same spot and they're not loose and stuff. This is convenient because you insert it and then you can kind of jiggle it around and it'll tell you if it's intermittent or not. So one in, one out. It's a cable tester. There's nothing much to it. Let's do the stereo plug real quick. Cool. So pretty much the same thing here, except I'll show you a couple tips and tricks because we've got 3 wires in here now. This is the Mogami 2552 for the TRS connections, and I was using the 2314 for the TS ones. So again, you'll just strip it about the same amount. I typically go maybe 1/3 of an inch, something like that. Cool, so you'll take the ground, pull it off to the side there just like we did before, twist it, and then you'll see we have a red and a white. Doesn't matter what you do with what. I've been using the red for the tip connection and the silver, the clear one, for the ring. So whichever one you choose for the ring, I snip a little bit off of that, and when we open up the SP550, you'll see why. So I clipped it off, and then I stripped the red, and then I'll strip the white one. Cool. Same thing. I'll take it then and I'll crimp it at a 90-degree angle. So it goes down. And then I'll curve this one around just the same as we did before. In the helping hand. And then we'll take the stereo plug here. I keep saying stereo. Doesn't mean it's stereo. Could be a balance connection. It's a TRS plug. It can be used for a lot of different things. Same thing, it's got a paper fold membrane that you can bend back like that so it's out of the way. And you'll see here that it's got 3 connections. So on the top, on the right, that is for the tip, very bottom. So top one goes to the tip, middle one goes to the ring, and then again on the left, which also touches the chassis, that's for the sleeve. So that's the ground connection. So I'm going to solder the red wire here, white there, ground. And you can switch these two. You can use white on the tip, red on the ring, but just make sure that you don't cross them in the cable. So both connectors have to be done the same way. Cool. So I got relatively fast at this. The first one I did was not at all this quick. We'll just check that there, give it a twist, make sure they don't come off, and then I'll close this back up. What I'm saying is, if I can do it, you can do it. Seems like a lot of work, but you get pretty fast at it, you get in a rhythm. So yeah, definitely worth using nice soldered connections. You never want a connection to go bad on a board as complicated as what I'm making. Finally, let's do the multimeter test. Not the multimeter. We'll use the Behringer. So we turn it on here, and then this will show us in the bottom here what's happening. All right, I'll reset that. So these are showing us pin 1 is going to pin 1, pin 2 is going to pin 2, pin 3 is going to pin 3. On a TRS connection, this is what you want. It'll look like that. On a TS connection, it'll make an X if it's done perfectly. And then what I'll do is I'll wiggle these around a little bit, put them under some tension, just to make sure that we don't have any connections show up here as being intermittent. If it disconnects and then connects again real quick, you'll get this intermittent light that turns on, which also happens when you unplug it. And that lets you know that it's not quite a solid connection. So this one's good. This one will be used to connect the expression between my HX stomp and an external foot switch. Stay tuned to the Building a Professional Pedalboard Start to Finish series. I have a link in the description to all these products that I've used. This Behringer thing, really convenient thing to have. This helping hand might only be like $7 or so. And I also have a link to the playlist of this entire pedalboard build. Might be an interesting thing for you to watch. Hope this video was helpful to you. Hit the like button, share with a friend if you know someone that might be into it, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks.